Your work always tells a story. Let's have a close look.
Hello, welcome to Close Look. I am Daniel Westbay, joined by
Marcia.
Hello, Marcia. It's so great to meet you, or not meet you. I know who you are.
Yeah, we've met before.
Can you explain to the people what it is that you do and why you do it?
What it is that I do? I do a lot of things. I was for a while mostly teaching yoga in New West. I was pursuing that as a career, and right now my path is kind of going in a lot of different directions. I'm trying to focus it and kind of focus into one direction, but I know that I'm really interested in like holistic nutrition and holistic lifestyle and fitness and yoga and all that stuff. So what it is that I'm doing, I can't really say that in one sentence.
It's okay. We got all the time in the world. But okay, before you explain what it is that you're doing, let's get back to the beginning.
Okay.
Who is Marcia? How did she get to the point that she's at right now? Your story.
Okay, so my story is also complicated. I grew up in Edmonton, and I went through years of addiction with drugs and alcohol, also eating disorders and mental health issues. So I moved here in 2015 after my family held an intervention for me. They hired a guy named Todd Ware, and he has an intervention company called Ware Interventions. Mm-hmm. So they hired him, they flew him out to Edmonton, held an intervention for me, and then I ended up going to treatment in New West, the Westminster house. So I stayed there for 4.5 months, and that's just a women's only treatment facility. That's where I got off the drugs and alcohol. I came to accept that I had an eating disorder because I was in denial about it for a long time.
Okay.
And that's where I was able to start working on it. And then after I moved out of treatment, I don't know, it was like I was reborn again. So I had the whole world to explore and start kind of trying to figure out who I am and what I want to do. And so basically I'm like 4.5 years old right now, trying to learn my way in the world and like figure out who I am. That's how it feels anyway. Like I feel like everything is just new. And I have this new huge appreciation for life. And I think that really leads me like on my journey right now is my actually caring about life and caring about the world and caring about little things that never mattered when I was in addiction.
It's an amazing thing. We did talk a lot off camera about some of these struggles and tribulations, so to say. Mm-hmm. But what finally, like I know you had the intervention, but like did something was that the only deciding factor as to why you wanted to, I'm going to say snap out of it, but I don't mean it in a bad way.
Yeah.
To change your life around, or?
There was a sequence of events, I guess, that happened, which I think happens to everybody who is in addiction and needs to find recovery. I call that my rock bottom. I think everybody needs to hit some kind of a rock bottom in order to find that willingness to make a change. Because if you're not suffering enough, you'll continue going on the road. So I got to a point where it was my rock bottom, I had suffered enough, and basically that looked like I wasn't welcome at my mom's house. I didn't have a job. I wasn't welcome at my dad's house anymore either. I ended up staying in a homeless shelter for a couple nights downtown in Edmonton. I really couldn't deny my addiction any longer, like which I had done for a long time. I tried to hide it, I denied it. So it was pretty obvious that I really actually had a problem. And I would stay up for 5, 6, 7 days at a time without sleeping, just doing drugs.
It's kind of impressive, but
it's terrible. So I would stay up for like a week at a time, and then start to almost go into psychosis because of lack of sleep. And then, you know, when the drugs ran out, I would sleep for basically a week. Like, I remember, you know, when my mom did let me stay at her house, I would sleep on the couch for a week without moving. Like, my body was so exhausted that I wouldn't even be able to get up. And my mom and my family was watching this happen, and they knew, obviously, that I was not well. I was extremely underweight, probably around 90 pounds. And, like, I was gonna die. I was gonna die if I continued going on the road that I was going. A couple other things happened. I ended up getting a severe brain injury, which happened because I believe it was because of alcohol withdrawal. I ended up just passing out, hitting my head on a concrete floor, and proceeded to have 2 seizures. I think it was 2 seizures, one after the other. Yeah, and then honestly, when they held the intervention, at first I said no. At first I was like, no, I'm not going to this. You guys are crazy. I was really mad. I was like, how dare you? Like, this is so, I was just mad at them for doing it. And I almost felt like they were being so dramatic. And
I laugh, but it's a serious thing.
well, it's just funny because of the insanity of like how my brain worked at the time. It was insane. It's like, and that's what addiction is. It doesn't make sense. You're doing things that are going to kill you. And so, yeah, now looking back, it's like the insanity. Now that I'm not in it anymore, you kind of have to find a little bit of humor around it.
Fair. That's a nice way to look at it.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm so grateful that I'm not there anymore. Every single day I have gratitude, and it feels like a lifetime ago. But
How long ago was it? I'm just curious.
it was 4.5 years. So my clean date is November 13th, 2015.
Oh, wow.
And I took 4 years this past November.
Congrats.
So-
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, new life, new everything. When did you start to figure out that you wanted to move into this holistic yoga and your new self? Like, how long did it
Yeah.
take before you found your new self?
It feels like it took forever. After I got out of treatment, like, there's so much fear that comes with that because you're learning how to live. I didn't know how to live before. I didn't know how to keep a job. I didn't know how to be a responsible employee or friend or daughter. I was learning life skills that I had never learned properly, I guess, by my standards. Like, I was not ever the person that I wanted to be by any means. So I was learning these things. I was learning kind of my values and my morals, and then also how to have congruency with my values and my morals and with my behaviors and with how I treated people. So that's kind of where it started. But everything, like every day, it is a journey. Every day I'm learning new things. I am someone who wants what I want when I want it immediately.
I think you and the rest of millennials.
Yeah. So I struggle with patience. And that's what life is. Life is, you need to find patience and acceptance for what life gives you, and then you can take action based on that and based on what your heart desires and what your soul is calling to. So it took me a long time to figure out who I was and where I wanted to go, and I'm still figuring that out. Like, even now, more so than ever, I feel that pressure of figuring out who I am and what I want to do. And every day I learn a little bit more about myself. So a couple weeks ago, I learned that I really care about what happens to the planet and what happens to, I started really paying attention to my footprint personally, and also seeing the footprint of humankind on the earth and how devastating it is. Yeah. And so that was an eye-opener altogether, just because I guess I had blinders on before, and I wasn't willing to look at the pain and the suffering that's taking place all over the world. So when I was ignorant before, and ignorance is bliss, if you will. So yeah, it was painful to have that kind of little bit of an eye opener. But then from the pain, I was able to make changes. So I've made little changes, such as like making sure I'm composting. I always recycle. I'm buying things that are not in plastic. So
wow, that must be. Do you feel like eventually we're all gonna have to get to that, or do you feel? I mean, it's just.
That's tough to say. So when I first experienced it, my first feeling, first of all, was like this horrified reaction, like, oh my God, we're killing the earth, like we're horrible. Why are we here? And then it moved to feeling hopeless and overwhelmed, because I'm thinking like, there's how many people in the world?
You can't control everybody.
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm just one person. Am I really going to be able to make a difference with the changes that I'm making? And I had people around me encouraging me, saying, yes, that's all you can do for now. That's where you got to start, is you, because that's all you can control.
Fair.
And I started thinking about it more and more, and I'm like, if everybody has that mindset of, well, I'm just one person and I can't do anything, then nothing's going to change. And yeah, and I realized, everybody has that ripple effect, and you have the choice to say, okay, what kind of ripple do I want to make? Do I want to make a ripple that's going to be damaging or helpful and positive? And who do I want to be? And just asking yourself, like, what kind of ripple do I want to create, I guess. I don't know if you need to have some kind of pain happen, or I think it's painful when you realize, when you gain awareness, or maybe, I know for me, like, I have to suffer before I'm gonna make changes, because if everything stays comfortable, why would I want to change? If it's comfortably uncomfortable even, then I'm just gonna keep coasting. So it's almost like growing pains, I guess. I like to think of it as I'm growing, and growing pains are inevitable.
I heard you say comfortable, the word comfortable, and it's good that you brought that up. So are you, because of your past and everything that's happened, is that something that's easy for you to fall back into, being comfortable and then maybe becoming stagnant? Like, have you become aware?
It's definitely possible for me to get too comfortable and start coasting and stop doing the recovery work. And that's something that I didn't mention, is that I need to put my recovery first, make sure that I am constantly on top of any like mental thoughts I might be having. I stay connected with my support group, with my sponsor. I go to regular meetings of Narcotics Anonymous. I participate in the program. I write step work, which is like, it's almost like introspective, I guess, work. Like looking at yourself and your behaviors and your way of thinking and getting it down on paper, and then you go through it with your sponsor and get feedback, and it's a really helpful thing to do. And I honestly think people, even who aren't addicts, should write step work. It's really helpful. But yeah.
Is step work like journaling almost, or not?
It is not journaling. There's basically a set of questions that go with each step. So there's step 1 to 12, and then there's like literature that you can buy. And like personally, I go to Narcotics Anonymous, but there's a lot of different like fellowships, I guess you can call them, like AA, NA, there's CODA, there's, Overeaters Anonymous, there's Gamblers Anonymous, there's Sex Addicts Anonymous,
there's everything.
There's everything. Yeah. So whatever you're struggling with, you can write about whatever it is, even if it's just negative thinking. You can somehow like...
Negative Thinking Anonymous?
Well, I don't know if there's negative thinking anonymous,
that should be a thing.
But there is like self-help that you can get and learn about how your mind is working and how your mind is basically controlling you. and learn how to break free from that. And I mean, everybody struggles with some kind of addiction or another. Some are worse than others, some are more deadly than others. But yeah, we're creatures that seek pleasure and avoid pain.
Hence comfortability.
There you go.
It's good that you, because I feel like a lot of people do get stuck where they are. And because it's comfortable where they at, they don't want to change anything. And I feel like sometimes you need to break that in order to realize kind of your full potential. And it's awesome. Actually, that was going to be one of my next questions. Like, do you still follow up?
Every Monday night, I have girls come over and we sit and we do step work together.
Okay.
And we check in. We talk about what's going on for us. A couple girls in my step group are moms. And like, it's so important to have that connection and to do it with people who understand you. And that's one of my biggest defaults is if I feel like I'm alone, if I feel like I'm the only one struggling with what I'm struggling with, that's when I will go into self-pity and victim mode. And that's when, my head will start.
Spirals into a rabbit hole.
Yeah, exactly. So having that support group is so important because I can talk about, struggling with this or I'm stressed out about this or, even good things. And having people just there to say, I know what you're going through and I get it and oh my God, me too, is so important. And then also getting feedback. Like, well, maybe you should do this. Maybe what you're doing isn't as good for you as you think it is. Bringing an outside perspective.
Not a bunch of yes people.
Yeah, there you go.
So, through all this, has your relationship with your mom or your family like greatly improved, or are they like, nah, we're still gonna? I'm just.
No, and that is honestly, my family was the biggest motivator for me to get clean. Growing up, like I was really close with my mom and my sisters, and I really looked up to my sisters. And through my addiction, like all of that was taken away. I turned into somebody else, completely somebody else. And so I really started to become estranged from both my sisters, basically. They made decisions that were healthy for them to set boundaries. And now that I'm clean, even though I live in a different city, a different province, my family's back in Alberta, and we're far away from each other, but we're closer than we ever were when I was sick. And like, I talk to my mom every day. I go out and fly to Edmonton and visit her. She flies here and visits me. Our relationship is now finally being built on something that's honest and real. And the foundation of our relationship isn't coming from me self-seeking and selfish and destructive. It's coming from a place of true love, caring about the well-being of my family, and they truly care about my well-being. That being said, they also support my recovery 100%. So I know that if I'm going to go for a visit back to Edmonton and I say to my family, like, I need to go to a meeting, they're going to be, they're going to support me 100%. They don't drink around me. They respect whatever it is that whatever boundary I set. They're completely respectful and completely just understanding, and that means the world to me because, like, I love my family and I need them in my life, and yeah, for them to support my recovery means everything. And yeah, so our relationship is way better.
No, that was a great answer. I'm super happy. That's great. That's good.
Yeah.
So where are you moving? Like, what are you doing? Like, where are you starting to evolve into? What's next for Marcia?
Okay. As of right now, I'm taking personal training courses. I'm taking them online, and I should be done. I've set a timeline for myself to be done within the next 2 months. So I will be a certified personal trainer. I love working out. It's absolutely so good for my mental health. I'm stronger than ever. I feel good. And I also want to keep incorporating the yoga into my my life. So I really value the holistic approach to things. I don't want to just be a personal trainer and then have people care about the way they look, care about their muscle definition or losing weight.
Because that really has nothing, a whole lot to do with that, so.
Yeah, there's so much more that goes into someone's happiness and well-being, and there's the physical aspect, there's also the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and it's so much bigger than just one thing. So yes, I'm taking my personal training. I want to be able to train people and empower them more than anything to really look at what they're struggling with in their life, and rather than just focusing on the one like physical aspect, they can maybe bring other aspects of their life into it. I'm trying not to go too quickly in my life. I'm really interested in taking a holistic nutrition course. I think I would love it. But right now I'm trying to focus on getting my personal training done before I...
It's about steps.
Exactly.
It's about, and you know that, and you know steps, right?
Yeah.
It's good that you need to do that. I know we talk a lot, we spoke for a while after off camera, and you seem like you have, your head's just, you know what you want, and it's all gonna work out, I think. The universe likes you, Marcia. That's I think the takeaway.
Thanks, that's awesome.
So after you've done your course, did you set a time frame to how you expect this to work out? And then if it doesn't work out within this time frame, do you have, I think you'll be fine. I'm just curious as to.
I haven't set a time frame for if it doesn't work out. I'm also starting a couple other projects. So my YouTube channel, I'll be starting up as soon as I learn how to, cut videos and do all the technical side. I need to learn the technical side, and then I would love to offer help to people online. I don't have a timeline for after school because I don't really know. I don't have the
I was just playing devil's advocate, really, so.
Yeah, but I am always open to, you're never gonna know that you're not good at something or that you can't do something until you try it. So if you're not gonna try it, then you've already failed. At least if you're gonna try it and fail, okay, and then you can go, okay, that doesn't work for me, I'm gonna try something else. There's always something else to try. So I'm not really worried about what if it doesn't work out, because then I'll just try something else.
That's great. Okay, so we've established your past, future, present. You have come a long way, and that's actually really, I almost cried. And that doesn't happen very often.
I almost cried too.
And so where can they find you? You might as well put your YouTube out there, because by the time they see this, you'll be around it's gonna be a couple weeks, so you'll be mostly past your stuff. So just throw it up in their YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you have or don't have. It's up to you. Yeah, your plug.
Sure. So on Facebook, I do have a page. It's called Yoga with Marcia. My YouTube, Yoga with Marcia.
Oh, that's
just
easy.
Keeping it simple,
That's good.
Straight to the point. And Instagram is just my private account, so
Fair.
Marcia Prefontaine, but you have to request and all that stuff. So as of right now, just the YouTube and Facebook where you can find me. And I encourage anyone who has any questions or wants to get a hold of me, especially regarding addiction, or if you're struggling. I was
going to say, if there's something you want to, go ahead.
If anybody's struggling, just please reach out. There's so many people that are willing to help, and you're never alone. There's always help. There's so much help available, and the suffering is real, and you don't have to go through that alone. So please reach out.
Well, Marcia, I appreciate your time. Thank you. If you have a cool story like Marcia's, you can please feel free to go www.closelook.ca. Number, link, everything on there. is on the site. We do have a podcast on Sundays called Sweet Culture. If you want to be a part of that or you want to be a guest on that, please reach out and yeah, we can make it happen. Thank you again, Marcia.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me on the show.
She was super nervous.
I'm so honored.
But it's so awesome. Thank you. Again, I shake hands. Do we want to shake hands? It happened
Too
now.
late.
So thank you, everybody. I hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
I thought I saw